Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
We struggle with ASU strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
A very good morning to you. Thank you for staying with us here on Global Television. I'm Uyi Agmofuegbe, welcoming you to Global Morning. We're live in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. It's a wonderful Tuesday, second work day of the weekend. We thought we could just continue to have discussions about topical and salient issues across this country. Today, just yesterday alone, several stories had emanated regarding developments from across different spheres in our great country, Nigeria. One of them being the unfortunate, very unfortunate incident of the fire outbreak at the High Commission of Canada here in Abuja. We understand fire broke out there yesterday morning, and then, of course, so much of damage has been done, people injured, and now we hear even the president and several other eminent Nigerians have reached out to just identify, just to send their heartfelt, if you like, condolences for those who lost their lives in the middle of that unfortunate incident. And then, of course, we understand that the election in Kogi is for this Saturday, 11th November 2023. It's been a long time coming. A couple of months ago, it looked like November 11 would never come again. But here we are today. It's just a matter of 4 days away. But then Kogi itself, as far as politics and elections are concerned, is a very huge conversation to have, especially when you look at the trajectory that we have seen with elections in that state, with how campaigns are done, with the level of violence, even though some people would say, well, there's virtually no state in Nigeria where you don't find elections being characterized, sometimes even totally marred by violence. However, the challenge is Kogi, just like many other states, has its peculiarity when it comes to electioneering and all of the elements associated with the process. And what makes it even worse, if you like, crazy, is the fact that for the most parts, the perpetrators and, if you like, the masterminds of these acts of violence are often said to be the key players themselves. In some instances, the candidates of major political parties. And then you find accusations and counter-accusations and so on and so forth. The incumbent governor, Yahaya Bello, incidentally, is not in the ballots in this election. He's not running. He's serving out his 2 terms, second term, rather. All right, so just in a matter of a few weeks, he would have done exactly 8 years in office. However, he has interests in the election. He does have interests. He has interest because his party is on the ballots and he has his candidates on the ballots. Therefore, he is an interested party or party of interest, for want of a better word. So whatever that means, the point here is all the gladiators have thrown their hearts in the ring for this one. So Kogi Guba election is big. All eyes are on that state this week and even the weeks that follow, because we remember that even after the election, results will be called, and even after a winner has been declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission, there's a pretty good chance there's going to be a litany of litigations here and there. Of course, that's expected, given where we are right now with our democratic experience and reality. However, the concern is, how can the election, the gubernatorial election in Kogi State, be seen to be credible, to be free, fair, transparent, and equitable? Because even the president himself, who of course is the leader of the All Progressives Congress, the APC, has also said that this election has got to be credible and equitable, But is that in theory? How do we make it a practical experience for not just the candidates or their political parties, but for Kogi people and Kogi states? That's very important. And Kogi, again, is a litmus test of some sort for INEC. And then we're going to move on to talk about elections in Imo and Bayelsa as well. We'll take a quick break now, everyone. When we return, I'll be looking at the papers for you.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Let's turn to the papers. Turns out we are beginning with the Punch newspaper this morning for you. 3 headlines above the nameplates of the Punch newspaper. One with a picture of the Minister of Information here. All right. U.S. Security Advisory, needless, discourages investors. FG. 4.3 trillion naira lost to oil theft in 5 years. That's according to government. Of course, oil loss has become a phenomenon in this country and is becoming increasingly disturbing. INEC delays trial of 197 electoral offenders. The big story on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning says, off-season polls, military police vow tough actions for ballot box snatchers, others. What's more, security chiefs warn hoodlums, 67,000 policemen for Kogi Bayelsa governorship elections. Then another writer there says, IG orders tight security at collation centers. FG vows transparency. Saraki demands fairness. Soldiers in show of force patrol Kogi Bayelsa flashpoints. Court rejects Akeredolu lawmakers' suits against Ayedatiwa. Lagos slashes BRT fares by 25% after passengers' outcry. You know, Lagos had actually slashed by 50%, and that ran for a couple of months. But then the government, just a couple of days ago, announced that it had returned to status quo. In other words, the fares had returned. But then there was public outcry in Lagos, and then government now reviewed, and it says it has slashed it by 25%. That's for BRT exclusively. 2 die in Canadian embassy fire, Tinubu mourns. That fire broke yesterday, and we did bring you that story here on Global Television. But let's take a look at the Nation newspaper, which equally has several stories, headlines for you on the Nation newspaper. All right, big story on the Nation newspaper says, federal government shun terror, alert fear. Renewed hope agenda of APC is on course in Imo State. You find all of that beautifully laid out graphics right in front of it. Okay. And then above the nameplate, presidency tackles Obi over attack on Supreme Court. Ex-Anambra governor should find another vocation. Heavy rainfall coming in Lagos, Ogun Rivers, 12 others. NNPCL explains FARC claim, NATI's 2021 reports. That report has become very controversial, and we understand NNPCL is working tooth and nail to clear the air on that. But NNPC has lagged for several years in terms of the transparency regarding its books. But now, let's see what happens going forward with regards to what the GCEO, that's the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, now says is the company's effort to work hand in hand very closely with key stakeholders to ensure that it reconciles the reports of the 2021 reports of NATI. We have never talked about 2022, for example. It's one thing for us to talk about transparency, accountability, and so on and so forth with regards to our elections and electioneering. But when it comes to our money, our naira and kobo, when it comes to critical sectors like oil, for example, are we transparent? Do we bring sound reason to it? Are we accountable for how we manage these very, very vital resources? Okay, but let's also look at the Daily Sun newspaper this morning for you. Daily Sun, big one here says Boko Haram horror in Borno, Katsina. Insurgents behead 13 farmers, kill 9. Kidnap others in separate attacks. 1 killed, soldiers missing as gunmen strike in Niger. Burn vehicles conveying food staff. Court declares Simba's discharge certificate. I've got to see that one for you. It says that's on page 28 of the Daily Sun newspaper today. Court declares Simba's discharge certificate not fake. Awards 5 million naira against NYSC. Anxiety as appeal court reserves judgments in Kano governor's appeal. Sacks Kwankwaso as Kano rep, declares NNPC's dirty. Kalu floors PDP LP Abga at appeal court. All right. Supporters jubilate. That's in Abia State, the Senate, one of the senatorial elections there. South Africa, Chad recall diplomats from Israel. UN leaders demand end to Gaza war. NNPC working with NATI, other stakeholders to reconcile 2021 reports. EFCC fails to produce Emefiele in courts amid fresh order. Peter Obi opens up on Supreme Court judgments. What's more, a couple of writers here says Apex Court betrayed Nigerians' confidence in judiciary. Find better vocation instead of casting aspersions on judiciary, that's presidency. Attack on Supreme Court exposes your arrogance, APC. Supreme Court affirms illegality of lower courts, dirty. And then at the very foot of the front page of Daily Sun, explosion at Canadian High Commission kills 2, injures 2 others. And then Nigerian Tribune, court fines NYC 5 million naira, confirms Mbas NYC certificates authentic. Oyo workers to get 25,000 naira wage award for 6 months. U.S. travel advisories causing needless panic. Nigeria safe. FG. Guba poll, 40,000 police personnel for Kogi. IGP reads Riot Act to perpetrators of violence, visits Bayelsa. We are 90% prepared, INEC. Redeploy Imo Rec. PDP urges. You can read the details of the story on page 16 of today's issue of the Nigerian Tribune. And then when you look at the left corner of the front page, one headline here reads, Appeal Court reserves judgments in Kano Guba election. Ports and harbors bill will promote casualization. Maritime workers. Release or produce MFLA November 8th. Court orders AFCC. 2 killed as fire guts Canadian embassy in Abuja. Obi Kape Supreme Court's INEC over 2023 election presidency APC cake. Let's turn to blueprint for you. Again, just beneath the nameplates. IDP bags first class in Edo Varsity. Gets automatic employment. Court affirms authenticity of Mbas NYC certificate. You have up to November 8th to produce a Mefele. Court tells EFCC. That's tomorrow, Wednesday. Price of 12.5 kg cooking gas to heat 18,000 naira December. Marketers. FG tackles U.S. over travel advisory, assures on security investment. Now, just to put this straight, a couple of days ago, that was sometime last week, the U.S. Embassy has said, had advised U.S. Department of State had advised its citizens in Nigeria to avoid big hotels, very flamboyant and high-profile hotels. From what is said, because for security reasons. This is not the first time, and there's some good chance this is not the last. But then, the government and the people of Nigeria are very concerned about the implication of this kind of advisory and how much it causes panic. Remember, it was sometime last year that we had also heard, 2021, there was going to be some simultaneous attacks across the FCT within the particular period. And you saw the haste, the rush with which Americans and other nationals left this country, and the panic it caused. People couldn't go to work, people couldn't leave the four walls of their homes, and we never recorded any attack at that point in time. Is it possible the U.S. Embassy lied? Is it possible that information was false? It's also possible that something had been done by the Nigerian authorities, especially the security and defense, defense and intelligence, institutions. What exactly had happened at that time? And with this particular one, what does it really mean? It's one thing for us to say, yes, the U.S. should not promote panic, should not cause panic in our country, particularly in the very heart of the country, which is the center, Abuja. However, we are able to leverage intelligence, or intel as they call it, to be able to ward off any sort of security threats. Because nobody would take you more seriously than you take yourself. If we're not taking ourselves seriously, particularly in this instant case of insecurity, I'm not so sure any other country, including the United States of America, will take us seriously. Okay? But then let's see what it says here. FG tackles U.S. over travel advisory, assures on security investments, urges media to amplify efforts to secure Nigeria, plans massive value reorientation campaigns. Well, we once had a mantra, Nigeria, people, great nation. What happened to that? Are we going to come up with something new, and then another government comes with something else, and then we just continue to flip and maybe flop? Well, we've got to get a grip, that's the point, with our policies, all right? 80% of rural women can't access financial services, PIC. Police to deploy 40,000 personnel for Kogi governorship poll. Soldiers rescue woman about to commit suicide in Lagos Lagoon. That's some good story, some good news there. but you can read it up on page 9 of the Blueprint Opinion. APC slams Obi. We are ready to play opposition role, ex-Anambra governor. But we need to look at Daily Trust for you. That's our next port of call this morning, beginning with the big story on the front page of it. Israel kills 10,022 Palestinians in 4 weeks. So tomorrow marks 1 month since these attacks started. Tomorrow makes it 1 month since Hamas struck. And then since that time, Israel has not looked back. It's been one form of bombardment after another. As a matter of fact, the vehemence just seems to increase with every day that passes. And the discussions, the conversations around ceasefire have yielded next to no results. But let's see what it says with the riders. 1 child killed every 10 minutes. I mean, imagine how sad that sounds. 1 child killed every 10 minutes. Gaza becoming graveyard for children. UN Secretary General. 8 countries cut ties with Israel over Gaza genocide. Terrorists kill many in Katsina, Borno. Supreme Court verdict revolution postponed. Obi. Start preparing for 2027 presidency. Condolences as Sheikh Yusuf Ali buried in Kano. Bayelsa governorship cracks widen in PDP, APC as heavyweights shun rallies. Why are they shunning rallies? Well, you can find the details on page 12 of today's Daily Trust newspaper. Okay, but we have news direct as well. Let's begin with 3 stories above the name mast here. Okay, says 2 feared dead as diesel explosion rocks Canadian High Commission in Abuja. For those who are propagating false news, fake news, it wasn't a bomb attack. It wasn't a suicide attack. It was a diesel. It was a diesel explosion. So let's be very clear about this. This is not something to be emotional about. Check your facts, double check your facts before you go out with any story. These are sensitive issues, very sensitive. Naira falls to 1,020 Naira to the dollar at parallel markets. Okay, yesterday we understood it closed on Sunday at less than 1,000, but at the parallel market now, yesterday it closed at 1,020 Naira. NLNG trains 7 projects hits 52% completion. NLNG train 7 projects hits 52% completion. CBN borrowing to banks increases by 466% to 268.3 billion naira. Okay. Manufacturers' debt to banks hit 6.98 trillion in June. That's according to the CBN. Experts raises alarm over banks' liquidity. Supreme Court judgment. Obi accuses judges of breach of constitution, describes INEC as incompetent. That's on News Direct page 2. All right, PMAWCA 2023. FG urges African leaders to prioritize blue economy for prosperity. At the foot of News Direct's EFCC flouts court order, fails to produce Emefiele in courts. Let's follow the money for you now on business day today. FG's borrowing from CBN still exceeds limits. So how did we jump right through the threshold? Well, stands at 4.36 trillion naira after Buhari's conversion. Supreme Court's verdict, total breach of confidence, Obi. And then Nigeria's mobile money agents outlets hit 6-year high, IMF. Judiciary no longer hope of the common man, says Odinkalu law professor. Dangote Boas Parts calls for stiffer anti-competition rules. Do we have that just yet? Anti-competition rules that will be very stiff. Because whether you like it or not, Dangote and Boa are neck-to-neck competitors. I mean, the rivalry between both brands, it's stiff, it's vehement. So there's got to be this antitrust mechanism or framework to help address issues such as this, because we are going to have it happen again and again, even across other sectors as well. We're just going to take a quick break now, everyone. When we return, the show continues. To stay with us. Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies to, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASIS
The
strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies to, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
the legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASIS
The
strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
In a world where we say communication is at the heart of whatever we do, regardless of what your sphere of influence is, what your area of practice is, or where you make your impact, where you make that difference every other day when you do what you love to do best. All right, the skill required to write and write very brilliantly is very important. There are people who have gone ahead to just raise their game in how to write, say, for example, business correspondence, maybe things like business plan, things like business proposals, you know, some of those executive documents and so on and so forth. There are those who have also been able to build sizable capacity, if you like, competence in technical writing, the others in reporting. There are those who have also been able to do well with, you know, poetic kind of, style of writing. But for it to be creative, you also need a skill. You would need to love to read. You would need to love to learn to observe. You will need to learn to have presence of mind and just be intuitive about all of these things. So your writing will not just be a collection of text, but something that has creativity in it. And that's what, the exact thing that our education correspondent, Subura Usman, has done with these special reports.
Professor Williams said creative writing evokes the reader's emotions and allows readers use their imagination and creativity. He charged relevant education stakeholders to invest in creative writing as it helps explore human experience.
Creative writing is a very rich art form that has been around for a very long time, and it is an area a discipline, you could say, that many professionals look for if they want to be creative writers for journalistic purposes, for fiction writing, for any kind of non-fiction writing, if they're doing documentaries, for instance, or for script writing, for screenplays, for animation narratives as well. So creative writing involves of someone like Wallace Soyinka. We're talking about non-fiction, a fictional writer in novels, short stories. He's also a playwright. Okay, and so that's an area that we offer. Or if you're interested more in an area that has to do with a screenplay, we also offer to teach you how to write proper screenplays and make them marketable. Okay, so that's pretty much what we're talking about.
Creative writing applies when you're critical, when you are actually very fluent with your words, and you have a smooth combination. How you can say one is a wordsmith, and putting that together in writing to proffer solution or create beautiful content. Yes.
Eunice Achu, a student of creative writing, said creative writing is a beautiful skill as it broadens the writer's reading prowess.
One major challenge that creative writers face, mental block, where you see it's a situation where you find yourself unable to put your thoughts together. You would find how to string those words as smooth as you thought you should have, and then you find yourself struggling for something that ordinarily should be a smooth process. It happens as a result of probably stress and what other thing? Yeah, stress can cause it. A mental or an emotional downtime can also cause you a mental block. So, but how to get out of it? Go do something relieving. Go have you a little leisure. You can play. You can learn something that can like relieve you of the stress that isn't expectant of you, something that wouldn't require a huge delivery from you. So do that and just play, relax your nerves, and boom, you would come back alive again and find yourself writing as smooth as ever.
She highlights some of the challenges in creative writing while suggesting the way forward.
Whenever you are done writing and you read whatever you have written, sometimes at that time you may not even feel the weight of what you've written, but going back to it, you would feel like this is my brainchild. This is something you must have. Writing is a process of garbage in, garbage out. So you read to write. So once you are able to put beautiful work together, you whenever you read it, maybe not even immediately, but every time you come back to that piece, you'd smile at the work, because you would know that this came from the much I have accumulated from books and thought patterns, and I've been able to put it out in writing, and it looks this beautiful, especially when it is achieving the purpose like informing, entertaining, and proffering a solution rather. Yeah.
Professor Ivan says creative writing broadens the reader's knowledge and enhances critical thinking. He therefore urged students of English to take a career path in creative writing. Sobra Usman, Global Television News, Abuja.
Sabra, thank you so very much for that brilliant reporting. The conversations continue here on Global Television. I'm Uyi Agumofwegbe. Do stay with us. Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2%